His kingdom is forever. His kingdom is forever. If we in our own strength confine, our striving would be lose.
When I was back in my days of addiction, I had moved in with my best friend Jeremy and his family. This is kind of a hard story to tell because I wasn't a good person back then. But I had moved in with them because I was bouncing around, moving from place to place, and I was probably near my worst point at this time. And what I did was I stole some money from them. Not only did I steal money from them, I stole money from their children, from their kids. That's how bad it was. And as time went on, I lied about it, told them I didn't do it, nothing happened, whatever. But then when I went to prison, Jeremy would come to visit me, and I told him about it, and I owned up to it, and I apologized. And at that point, I felt like I was kind of like, okay, so I gave this back. I don't feel as bad about it. But fast forward, I had been out of prison probably a year and a half. I started feeling this weird, tug, like I was supposed to give this money back to Isabel, was her name. I was supposed to give this money back. And I'm like, really, God? Is that what I'm feeling right now? Am I really supposed to go tell this girl who probably doesn't even remember that this happened, that here I stole this money from you and I'm paying you back? Am I supposed to do that? And I questioned it. And not only did I question it for a day or two, this went on for over a year. Went on for about a year and a half, actually. Maybe even more. I don't remember exactly how long it went on. But recently, Jeremy and I took a day trip down to West Virginia to go to my reunion, and we went and visited Faith Mountain. It was a pretty cool trip. But the point is, as we were driving, I looked at Jeremy and I said, bro, I don't know. I've never articulated this. I had never said a word of this to anybody. It was just something that I was kind of battling with in my heart. I said, bro, I kind of feel like I'm supposed to pay Isabel back that $100 I stole from her. And he was like, well, first of all, it was $80, he says. And secondly, if God's calling you to do that, you should do it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And for the first time since it happened, this is over 10 years old, from the time that it happened, 10, 12 years, I don't even know how long it was. But for the first time, I articulated the fact that I was going to fix this. I was going to make it right. So fast forward to that next week when we got back, I was going to staff meeting. I'm on staff at our church. And I make a left-hand turn onto the road to go to the church. And I see something laying in the road, and I'm like, what the heck? I pulled over, and I got out of my car, and there was a $20 bill laying on the ground. And then I looked to my left, and there was another $20 bill on the ground. And then there was another $20 bill on the ground. There was $80 laying on the ground that day when I went to go to church. And it's not about the money. It's not about the money. I had the money to pay it back anyway. But the fact of the matter is that God provided. God provided that because I finally owned up to it. I was finally willing to be obedient to the call that he had put on my heart over a year ago. I'm just carrying this and I'm battling with it, and I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to do? I'm questioning. I'm not listening. But the moment that I fell into that obedience, God provided for me. And I was able to give it back to her. And I was able to explain to her and apologize to her. And she was kind of like, oh, cool, thanks. But for me, it was this thing, I'm crying and I'm having this experience, and she's like, okay, thank you. But the point is that it was never about the money. It was never about the money. It was about the fact that it was time for me to be obedient to what God was calling me to do. There was a call on my life, there was a tug on my heart to make something right that I had personalized for however long it was that I was battling with this thing, and I was not doing it. But the moment that I admitted and fell into that obedience, the moment that I trusted God with it, was the moment that it changed. And then he provided for me. It wasn't a ram, but it was $80 that I didn't have to spend out of my bank account, right?
Your grace